Welcome back to Light the Fuse, the only and therefore most culturally relevant podcast series exclusively about the Mission Impossible franchise. Once again, it's Drew Taylor, joined by Charles Hood.
Hello.
And this week we're doing something a little different, a little fun. Do you want to tell us what that is, Charles?
We're talking about the first season of the 80s Mission Impossible TV series.
The first 4 episodes.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to do 4 episodes at a time, probably. So this is the 1988 season. The way it went down is I think it was CBS. Am I right?
Yeah.
CBS needed a show, and there was the writer's strike. And so they decided to bring back Mission Impossible, and they actually remade scripts from the original series for this show. So a lot of the episodes are actually remakes of the 60s and early 70s TV show.
Are some of these episodes
Yeah.
remakes? Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll point them out as we go.
Okay.
I have the Mission Impossible dossier book, and it gives me a guide for every episode. And I just read that to see if there's anything of note to mention.
Well, I just want to talk about what else was popular at the time on television, because this was very different. It almost feels like it kind of missed the boat on like the A-Team Hunter type shows, and now I'm looking at the top rated shows from the time. It was like Golden Girls, Murder, She Wrote, Night Court, Dallas, Alf. None of these things are in that same kind of like action adventure genre.
I was pretty into Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
I used to watch that with my mom, actually.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm
It's
just saying
kind of like Murder, She Wrote.
It is.
It's like a mystery, sort of. I mean,
yeah.
It's not really, I
No,
guess. But,
no.
but it's like, it's not that far off of Murder, She Wrote.
Well, but it is far off from the kind of like what you and I would think of like 70s, early 80s action series.
Right.
This is not,
This feels like
it's not Seawolf or any of those shows. This is
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a throwback. But
we should say also the only way you can watch the show, unfortunately, it's not streaming anywhere. You can't rent it anywhere streaming. It's only on DVD, as far as I can tell.
And thank God somebody in this room bought that DVD set.
Hey, the DVD set's like, I don't know, $9 on Amazon. So if you want to get into the 80s show, it's a real cheap investment.
I'm excited about the next crop because Brian Trenchard Smith is a great Australian director. So I'm excited to see what he did. Yeah.
What has he directed?
Features like Turkey Shoot, which is a very influential Australian thriller. Did you saw the documentary about Australian cinema?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's all over that one.
Ozploitation?
Yeah, Ozploitation.
Yeah. What was it called? The documentary.
It was called Not Quite Hollywood.
It was great. It's a great documentary. I highly recommend that.
Dead End Drive-In, which has like these crazy stunts. BMX Bandits, which is one of the first Nicole Kidman performances ever. Oh. Maybe the first.
He did a couple of the Leprechaun sequels.
And the Night of the Demons sequel. So... Oh, Drive Hard. Do you ever see this? It's one of John Cusack's black baseball hat movies. It's pretty good. Yeah,
okay,
anyway.
Well, I look forward. So he did the next batch. But we got to talk about this batch first.
We got to talk about should we talk about the Australian-ness of it?
There's a lot of Australian-ness.
Yeah.
So, to save money, they made the show in Australia. So a lot of I think all the day players, the actors who come in for, small roles, are Australian, and I think even a couple of the main cast they really just imported, from America they brought over Peter Graves and I can't remember who else, a couple others. Well, the one thing that's actually really cool about this is one of the American actors is the son of a legacy actor from the old show. So Phil Morris is the son of
Greg Morris,
yes, who played Barney in the old show.
Yeah.
And now this actor plays Barney's son in the new show.
I actually did not.
And that's kind of fun.
I didn't pick up on that until they bring in Barney's character.
Well, we'll get that spoilers. So we'll get to that when we get to that episode.
Yeah.
So the pilot was directed by veteran TV director Cliff Bowl, who also did the pilot of T.J. Hooker and a bunch of other famous shows. He directed some episodes: Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Voyager, X-Files, Charlie's Angels. And he did the Die Hard-like episode of The Amazing Spider-Man. Do you remember the old 70s Spider-Man TV show? Do you remember there was like a 2-part episode that was like Die Hard, where like, it was obviously before Die Hard, but I think they might just be bank robbers, or maybe they're terrorists, but they take over a whole building. They take them all hostage, and Peter Parker's in there, and then he sneaks out the window and comes back in as Spider-Man, and they have this whole rooftop sequence where he's on a Wire. I was really into this show. They used to play it on Sci-Fi Channel, and every time it went to commercial, Stan Lee would come in and excitedly talk about Spider-Man.
Wow.
You didn't watch that show?
No, I had no idea you were such a fan. And such a Cliff Bowl fan.
Well, I just remember that episode when I was a kid being like, this is like Die Hard, but with Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to set up the show? I mean, so he's sort of brought back in, Peter Graves is brought back into the agency.
Yeah, I mean, he's training somebody. He's gone into just training. It's sort of like Mission Impossible 3.
Right.
Where someone he trained was killed in action. And then he comes back to the IMF to help solve the mystery, and then that's what pulls him back in and starts this whole series. And this episode is actually a remake of the season 5 season premiere from the original series.
Really?
The Killer, which obviously we haven't gotten to yet in our 60s TV show watching, but we will eventually get to The Killer.
I liked him referencing that the apartment was renovated. He was like, "Oh, this is different."
Well, it's new. Also, there's a cold open, which the old show never had cold opens.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it.
It's kind of fun. They have a little teaser scene. It's usually about the bad guy or whatever this story is going to be this week. And let's talk about the title sequence. Ugh. It's so 80s.
Yeah, that weird camera move is like...
But you actually get to see Phelps light the fuse.
Yeah,
We've never seen someone actually light the fuse, other than, I guess you could say, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
But Phelps, you see his face, and he, lights the actual fuse.
How did you feel about that little camera move?
It's appropriately terrible.
Yeah.
But and Lalo Schifrin returned to do the music. And he gives it a very synthy 80s feel, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think is really lame is that the title sequence never changes week to week. Yeah. It's the same every week.
Yeah, you would never think
lame.
You would never think that a show that was recycling old plots and contractually forced to shoot in Australia would spend the money on a new title sequence each week.
Yeah.
But
it's just it's clips from the whole season rather than that specific episode.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, because I think it's not just from the first.
I hate the Mission font. It's like that kind of like digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very dated digital font. Yeah. So the message delivery after the title sequence.
God, this is one of the more tedious aspects of this.
So Phelps talks to a fisherman before getting a mini disc player, and in the mini disc player it says "Welcome back, Jim." And at this point, they say this one also says, should you decide to accept it? So again, they're not saying choose to accept it. And then they also say that this disc will self-destruct in 5 seconds. So it's that mini disc player. But
do you want to go through all the ways that he gets these missions, because they're increasingly ludicrous as it goes on. I like the surf. So,
in episode 2. It's at a college football game, and the Peanuts guy tells him, like the guy who's selling peanuts tells him where to get the mini disc player, and it's the same thumbprint secured mini disc player in every
which kind
episode.
of reminded me of Fallout with the blood prick.
Yeah. Episode 3, it's Phelps talks to a violinist on the street in San Francisco who's trying to hide his Australian accent. Not doing a good job of it. And they do a lot of like stock footage of San Francisco where they'll just show a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, and then they'll just be in Australia.
Yeah, it's a completely different film stock and everything.
And so then again, episode 3 is a mini disc player. Episode 4, Phelps talks to a sailor on the beach in code, and then gets the mini disc player in the guy's van.
Yeah, that was the weirdest. That was the weirdest one.
But I like that he was a sailor. Yeah, I grew up sailing. I appreciated that.
It also that shot starts with 2 of the most 80s looking like babes walking down the beach, and Phelps kind of like leering at them.
Did he? I don't remember him leering. So in the back to the pilot of the news show.
Yeah. Which is an episode of the old show.
Right, remake of it, when Phelps picks his team members, there's no more black folder, little dossier folder. This time it's a high-tech computer system that's like in his living room up on the wall, like a monitor on the wall, and he's using that to pick his team members. And, so that's how he picks Barney's son, which is played by Greg Morris's son.
But they don't pick them every episode this time, do they? Does he pick them every episode?
No.
They're kind of just there.
Now that's his team. Like at the end of the episode, they kind of all meet together at the guy who Phelps trained, I guess, who died.
Who is supposed to be the main character in the group? The blonde guy?
No, it's Phelps.
No, I mean, but Phelps is kind of sidelined for a lot of these. Who else? Who in the new cast would you say is like the?
I would say Phelps. He's still like leading the way, and he's running the mission every time.
But there isn't like a leader. What you would say? Do you think the blonde guy, or the weird mask?
No,
guy?
I think Phelps is the leader.
Okay, fine, Phelps is the leader. But I know, no, I'm saying like,
so many times.
not a leading the team, but like who is supposed to be like the
like
star.
the Roland Hand, the Martin Landau, kind of like the Ethan Hunt, the guy,
Hunt,
the disguise guy. I mean, I think Ethan Hunt in the later movies is more like Phelps was. So, I don't know who's... I think it's just Phelps.
Just Phelps?
I think you're just going to have to get over this.
I will say that he's more sidelined in the first episode. They kind of bring him in later.
Right.
There might have been some physical limitations, maybe, to his...
he's getting older.
Yeah.
Which is also an interesting transition into the first movie, where Phelps is older. So it kind of is a nice bridge. In this... the 88 pilot for the new show, there's a guy helping them from their, quote, London office.
Ooh.
Which I don't remember them ever talking about that in the old show. So it's sort of a interesting international aspect to the IMF now, that they're getting some help from the London office.
Yes, and we also should talk about the killer in the pilot. You watched Star Trek Next Generation occasionally. Is the guy that plays Q.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
it seems like there was a lot of Australian day players
who
were all trying to hide their accents, and then they would bring like one guest star from America each week, and they'd bring him.
I'm sure it was like a union thing, but the funniest thing about this pilot is that how much it takes place in London, but everyone has an Australian accent. They were like, yeah, just do your accent. But it was like totally different. Yeah.
Oh, it's also nice to hear the plot.
Yes.
Lalo Schifrin brings back the plot, and it's like the synthy 80s version of it. That's fun to see. Oh, and there's a moment in the pilot where they change all the room numbers on the floor.
Yeah.
And it was reminiscent of Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. When
they go and change all the room numbers on the floor of the hotel.
How confused do you think people were too when they changed the street signs?
Oh yeah.
It's like they're really messing with people's like livelihood,
day-to-day lives there in Australia or London.
Yeah.
So episode 2 was a remake of season 3, episode 15 of the original show, and that was called The System. So episode 2 is another remake. The cold open, the bad guys blow someone up, and then this one's set in Mexico and the Bahamas. Is this the one where? No,
I thought that was the third one.
No, it's from my notes. The second one's in Mexico and Bahamas, and there's a synthy reggae version of the plot.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty fun. And then there's a reference to the Syndicate. Yeah, it's the one where the guy's running the casino or whatever, and there's a quote from him where he says, "All of a sudden, the Syndicate doesn't trust me."
Yeah.
There's a reference to the Syndicate in this episode, which is pretty fun.
And we see someone making a mask.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, and I think that's the first time, because in the earlier show, it was always prosthetics. It was like it built on your face, but this is him painting
a mask.
The mask, and he does it again in the fourth one.
There was a mask in the pilot of the old show.
Oh, okay.
Right, because remember he sees a face.
Oh yeah.
Of the bad guy sees a mask of Dan Briggs, so they do have a full mask there.
Okay.
But they don't have.
Maybe
it very
this was
often.
amazing. And that
was when they had that great makeup guy do it. Was it John Chambers?
Yes.
Or was it?
Yeah. But I think you see the mask being made, which is also reminiscent of 3, right?
3 and 4.
Yep.
And even Fallout 2, they just have new technology for it.
Yeah. 2 is
that's all I have. That's all the notes I have for 2.
2 is tedious. That was the hardest one to get through. I think I like 3 and 4 the most.
4 is the best, which we'll get into why.
Yeah.
3, the cold open. There's a car mount shot on the limo after they assassinate this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they like roll up the window and drive away. I thought that was actually a really cool shot.
That whole thing was cool. It was sort of reminiscent of like Jonestown, the kind of like massacre at the airport.
Yeah. But it was a cool, like they had the camera mounted to the car as they drive away and the window just goes up. I thought it was a cool way to do it.
This one was directed by Kim Manners, who is also ended up being like a longtime X-Files director.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he died.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, but
really bringing things down.
I mean,
okay.
just being real.
Well, we appreciate his work on this and the
X-Files.
This one, there's a 15-year-old kid who's the son of an IMF agent who joins the team for this episode. He to help him, and he's impersonating the bad guy's long lost son. It's complicated. There's a hologram. There's a lot going on.
That kid is terrible. And I also want to know what parent was like, yeah, go do this thing. Was he Australian? I think
I'm
sure he
might
was
have
Australian.
been American. I think he might. They might have brought this guy over.
I just think it's so funny that this episode is like, there's a kind of dictator type character who they're influencing, and the whole thing is that he has these migraines, and he's thinking that this kid visiting him is a migraine. But then he asks Phelps, who is now who is posing as a neurologist, like, about psychic connections between people.
Right.
And also I love that the warlord is like completely wall-eyed. Like, his eyes are going in opposite directions, which I'm sure that we have listeners who have that problem, but it's like, it's not very threatening, I would say.
No.
A little goofy.
Not the scariest bad guy.
But it was okay. It was very sci-fi.
Yes. The hologram was fun.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Those are my only notes for episode 3.
Okay.
Want to talk about episode 4?
Let's get into it. This one's a good one.
This is a remake of season 2, episode 19, called The Condemned. And in this one, our old friend Barney gets arrested in the cold open. He's framed for murder.
Yeah.
I was really excited when I was watching this episode, and
me
Barney
too.
showed up. I was like, oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
So Barney from the old show is in this, and so this is personal for Barney's son. He really wants to get his son out, and we hear some backstory about their family and everything. Barney's wife died, and he's just been trying to get away from everything. That's why he's been living in Turkey, and that's where this whole opening incident happens in the cold open.
A real country, unlike the original show.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think a couple of them were phony in the previous episodes, but this was a real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they talk around it too. They never say a country.
Yeah,
name.
It's like the third one was in like a fake island called St. Clair or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
there was there's a part where Phelps goes into prison to talk to Barney, and they have this fun little exchange where Barney says, "You quit before I did." He says, "You quit before I did," and then Phelps says, "Well, do any of us really quit for good?" I thought that was pretty interesting. It's also related to like Hunt and how he tried to get out and couldn't. So Ethan Hunt did the same thing. These IMF agents, they're addicted to the job.
I know. It makes me shocked that he had a family, even if he doesn't now. He had he had a wife, he had a child. And he let the kid join the IMF.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a reveal later in the show about who that kid was from episode 3?
No.
Like who his father was? No.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it does seem like they're broadening the network of the IMF.
Yeah.
So maybe we will.
All right.
And in this one, there's an interesting part where Barney's son has to wear a mask and pretend to be his father.
I love that.
So there's 2 Barneys. It's an emotional scene between 2 Barneys.
Yeah.
And I was into that.
That scene was a little...
To me, episode 4 was my favorite by far.
Yeah, that scene was a little like after school special. But
But it was amazing to watch it with Barney talking to Barney emotionally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the plot of this one was nonsense. There was like a shotgun murder, and there was stolen jewels and a corrupt police official or something,
none of that mattered.
Yeah, no.
I was just enjoying it.
Yeah. But by far, and the music in this one was cool. So Lalo did the theme, but he did not do the music. At least for this one, he did not do the actual music during the episode.
Yeah, I think he came back and did episodes every once in a while, I think. But yeah, it was another guy, I forget his name.
This was cool.
But
cool music.
We have the soundtrack, the full soundtrack you got for us, remember? And it's 2 guys credited. It's all this, I think they probably music edit all this. Schifrin probably came in and wrote a bunch of tracks.
Yeah.
And then they probably music edited them, and then this other guy, scored the whole show.
Right.
Other than that, is my guess. We'll get more into that when we do our making of the 80s show.
Yeah, people
they'll be lining up on the streets to download the episode.
I love this is one of those limited editions. And Ron Jones was the one that did
it.
That's
Ron Jones, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. Couldn't you just see that in like a TV guide or something?
We're looking at the album cover of the 80s TV show soundtrack.
The blonde guy is the most egregiously Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun so far.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it sort of.
Just the Australianness of it makes it very enjoyable.
Yeah, and even it's also shocking to see how much longer things feel from the 80s or were. I don't know how long each episode was, but
it's just I think the bottom line is the original show is actually a legitimately great show.
Yeah.
And this is not so much. I mean, I feel bad saying it, but it's just this is not nearly the same level.
Well,
but I think if you're a hardcore fan, or if you're just curious, it's good to check it out and watch.
Oh yeah,
especially this episode 4 if you can track it down.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
But the next episode 5 was actually the second episode produced, so I wonder if there will be more kind of easing into the team and
it's called the Legacy.
The Legacy.
That's another title episode. That title was in the original show, so I wonder if it's a remake of the original, The Legacy.
I'm gonna bet it was. Yeah. Have you looked into it?
Because they couldn't. The situation was the writer's strike, and they couldn't hire writers to write new episodes, so they had to just have existing scripts.
So I'm
not sure if we made that clear before, but that's why. That's why that CBS ended up doing this. But
was the second season new?
I think there are more new episodes that come in as the show goes along. They start with just remakes, and they end up getting more and more original. There's something very interesting about the 80s show that I don't want to spoil, but when we get to it, it's going to be very exciting.
When are we getting to it?
I believe it's in the middle of the first season. Okay. So stay tuned.
How much longer have you gone way ahead?
No, I haven't watched.
Okay.
I just know I've read about it. I've read too much about the show, so I know a little spoiler that is very fun, and it's going to be very cool to talk about. I don't even know. I guess the movies have done it once or twice, but not very often. And I'm excited to see how the 80s show handles it. So just a little teaser for you.
Wow, okay. Well, do you have anything else to add about these few episodes?
No. I guess we'll be back at another time to talk about the next 4.
Yeah, people are going to be ready for it. Yeah.
I think they're excited.
Yeah. Well, once again, for Charles, this is Drew Taylor, and we will see you next time.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.